Welcome to the Guide Newspaper Review, Volume 24, Number 21, September 11, 2022 edition. The front page has the headline, 2023, Muslim Ticket, Our Stand Unshakable, says Khan. The story has it that the Christian Association of Nigeria, headed by Archbishop Daniel Oko, has refuted claims alleging that it has compromised its position regarding the Muslim ticket of the APC. Khan described the claims as ridiculous, malicious, untrue, and should be disregarded in its entirety by all reasonable members of the society. The story goes on to say, Khan took a position against the same-faith ticket imbroglio under the leadership of Reverend Dr. Samson Ayokunle, its immediate past national president, and as a matter of fact, Archbishop Daniel Oko stands on that same position. Another headline on the front page says, Tributes pour in for late Queen Elizabeth. The story has it that a plethora of tributes and messages have continued to pour into the British monarchy from around the world following the death of Queen Elizabeth II. Among them is the message of the Catholic Pontiff, Pope Francis, in which he praises the late Queen for her life of unstinting service to the good of the nation. Also, in a statement released by Britain's new king, King Charles III, he described the death of her beloved mother, the Queen, as the moment of the greatest sadness for him and the entire family. On her part, the newly elected British Prime Minister, Liz Truss, has described the death of Her Majesty the Queen as a huge shock to the nation and to the world. She continues, Through thick and thin, Queen Elizabeth II provided us with the stability and strength we needed. On page 2, we have the guide editorial titled Periscoping Queen Elizabeth II, The End of an Era. The editorial surveys the legendary life of Queen Elizabeth II, who died at the ripe age of 96 and reigned as queen for 70 years. Within these years, she witnessed the succession of 5 British prime ministers, beginning from Winston Churchill to the newly elected Liz Truss. The late Queen, in the opinion of many, was a strong pillar that sustained Britain through years of epochal changes, both at home and in the world. Also, the page 2 has these headlines. As to get 3 weeks ultimatum to suspend strike. Nothing will stop us not to arrest, prosecute criminals in Southeast henceforth, says IPOB. On page 3, we have the headline which says, Owerri Archdiocese celebrates 26th edition of Odenigbo. The story has it that this year marks the 26th anniversary of the Odenigbo lecture series, which was established in 1996. Hence, the theme for this year's lecture, as delivered by Reverend Father Professor Bede Ugwuje, CSSP, reads, Ngụba Odenigbo, Uru n'aka mgba si na nkuzi enyere, 1996 to 2022. Speaking during the Eucharist celebration held at the event, the Archbishop of Owerri Archdiocese, Most Reverend Lucius Ugoji, observed that the annual celebration primarily recalls the 1994 elevation of Owerri to an archdiocese and to the position of the Metropolitan See within the Owerri Ecclesiastical Province. On his part, the Archbishop Emeritus, Most Reverend Anthony Obinna, described the event as an opportunity of homecoming and reunion for all the sons, daughters, friends, and well-wishers of the Archdiocese. He further stated that the event has a unique incorporative dimension. Also on page 3, we have the headline which says, Mbaise Europe 2022 Convention ends in grand style. The 2-day event, which lasted between 3rd to 4th September 2022, was well attended by prominent Mbaise sons and daughters from across the globe. The convention, tagged Open Doors to Development, provided a fundraising platform for the implementation of the Mbaise Master Plan projects. On page 4 is an interesting headline which says, Beto et Angeli Foundation holds a retreat for her undergraduate and hearing impaired students. The Beto et Angeli Foundation is the brainchild of Reverend Father Dr. Benedict and Nwachukwu Udako's passionate commitment to supporting the poor and less privileged to realize their dreams and potentials. The name Beto Edangeli is a fusion of names recognizing three important persons behind the foundation. Beto stands for Roberto Gracia, a USA Hispanic deacon who championed fundraising to enable Father Nwachukwu Udako realize his vision of supporting the poor. Ed stands for his late father, Ezinna Edmond Onyolo Nwachukwu Udako, and Angeli stands for her mother, Angelina Nwachukwu Udako. Beto Edangeli Foundation currently runs a scholarship program that accommodates about 259 students. It has a medical center in the name of the foundation, Beto Edangeli Medical Center, which makes healthcare services available to the general public at subsidized rates. The foundation is training 2 medical students and 3 nursing students in the higher institution. It is also into family help and empowerment scheme and services and lots more. As part of its follow-up programs, Beto Edangeli Foundation recently organized a retreat program which lasted between the 12th to 14th of August 2022 for her scholarship beneficiaries on the theme Self-Discovery in the Light of the Gospel and Human Experience. The retreat session, which was facilitated by Fathers Patrick Nwachukwu Udako and Ephraim Ibekwe, was a forum to engage the students in different self-evaluating discussions in the hope of encouraging them to maximize their potentials to be of positive impact in the society. On page 5, we have these headlines. Nigeria must be ready for protests if another northerner becomes president in 2023. Niger Delta Group warns. Naira ranks 11th worst performing currency against US dollar. Nigerians react differently over federal government injury time boost to end banditry terrorism in December. Man kills 90-year-old dad to have access to bank account. On page 6, we have an article with the title, A Teaching Church on the Sacrament of Holy Orders. In this article, the writer, Reverend Father Dr. Benedict Nwachukwu Udako, identifies the task that men called to the Sacrament of Holy Orders have to raise Christians who will profess their faith with conviction, thereby making them heralds of the gospel to the wider world. To achieve this, the writer presents priests with the example of St. John Mary Vianney, who did not content himself with the ritual activities of his daily ministry, but went further to make his life the most persuasive of all sermons, so that in his life, people could see the gospel in action. Father Nwachukwu Udako further observed that for effective ministry today, in the face of so many religious, social, political, economic, and cultural challenges, priests are called to a witness of sanctity. Priests must rise to the challenge to teach from their hearts and defend the Catholic faith, and to explain with rational arguments the true identity of God. Also, we have another article on this page titled Education and the Role of Teachers, a Systematic Analysis, written by Reverend Father Dr. Innocent Ike Nwachukwu. In this article, education is said to be a human right and not a privilege. The beauty of education lies in its potential for improvement of standard of living. Thus, education is seen as the greatest weapon of change in a society. However, for the benefits of education to be harnessed, a teacher is indispensable. A teacher here goes beyond professional person who systematically transmits a body of knowledge in the context of a school to an educator, that is one who helps to form the human person. In other words, the role of a teacher in education goes beyond teaching. It requires leadership and communication skills, patience and good examples, and above all, mentorship. The writer maintains that teachers need proper incentives to be motivated to give their best. Therefore, the government and other stakeholders should not gamble with teachers' welfare, as it will ultimately affect the educational system. On page 7, we have these headlines. Vatican sends Papa Nuncio expelled by Nicaragua to Africa. The story relates that the Holy See Press Office has announced Archbishop Valdemar Stanislaw the former apostolic nuncio in Nicaragua, who was expelled from the country by the Daniel Ortega dictatorship, as the apostolic nuncio in Senegal, Cape Verde, Guinea-Bissau, and Mauritania. Other headlines on this page say, German Archdiocese forms Leah Group to help elect next Archbishop. How Noor was killed by terrorists in Mozambique. Syriac Orthodox Church replaces Archbishop 9 years after kidnapping. On page 10, we have the headline, Ahera Diocesan Faithful Converge for Eucharistic Congress. According to the story, the faithful of Ahera Diocesan Basin were gathered at Mater Ecclesia Cathedral in their numbers on the 10th of September 2022 for the Diocesan Eucharistic Congress. Reverend Father Franklin O'Debelin, who spoke during the homily, charged Christians to rediscover the power of the Eucharist. He emphasized the sanctifying power of the Eucharist and urged the faithful to always confide in the Eucharistic Jesus. The back page features an interesting article by Chidi Ansam Odenkalo, writing on As Nigeria Gets Set for Presidential Campaigns. The writer contends that as the campaign season for the 2023 general elections is set to begin in a few weeks' time, Nigerians must make concerted efforts to get clarity concerning the position of leading candidates on the issues that matter. It is no more a time for ambiguous slogans and gimmicks aimed at hypnotizing and deceiving the general populace. Other headlines on the back page say, NFF election would usher in change, says Fan Ndubuoke. How Tuchel received sack during 10 minutes phone call. Thank you for listening to this edition of the Guide Newspaper Review. For more updates, do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Ahera Catholic Diocese. You can also follow us on Facebook at Ahera Catholic Diocese or on Twitter at Ahera Cat Dio. God bless you.